Shalom, Akim. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ha-Rakah Kodash. I want to give double honors to the elders of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth. I also want to acknowledge all the Akim who are pushing this truth with sincerity. All right. So the Spirit got me in Isaiah 6:1 today. And I'm going to just jump in it. It says, in the year that King Uzziah had died, I saw the Lord sitting upon the throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. All right, so this is about to go into a chariot, a UFO, so-called UFO. But the prophet Isaiah, he actually saw the Most High, It says here, he saw the Lord sitting upon the throne, all right? And there's the verse 2. And above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. All right, so basically the wings, actually, if you go into that word wing, it actually means garment. So it's it's dealing with a garment, Like you see the brothers out on the street corners when we were able to, we had our garments on, and that's those are the angels, The brothers right now, we're in our fleshly bodies, but eventually we're going to be greater than the angels, okay? But the angels are the ones who are, the word angel means messenger, and the angels are in the chariots, the so-called UFOs. So that's what Isaiah sees here. But it says twain means 2, all right? So he had basically 6 garments, and 2 of them covered his face, 2 of them covered his feet, and 2 of them he flew with, all right? It appears like he was flying with the garments. But like if you see on a windy day, the apostles or the elders or the other camps, if it's a windy day outside, you may see the garments blow up in the in the air, and we wear long garments, so it appears like it's a wing. So that's what it is dealing with these angels' garments that are on their angelic bodies. Okay. Go to a quick precept in Ezekiel. If you want to read about an account of a chariot, you can go to Ezekiel, chapter 1. And Lord willing, you get the understanding on this chapter. So verse 11, thus were their faces, and their wings were stretched upward. 2 wings of everyone were joined one to another, and the 2 covered their bodies. So you see some of the wings, the garments were covering the bodies. Others were, if they're in the air, then it would appear like they're hovering. This is dealing with the chariots and the angels, all right? So when Ezekiel and when Isaiah saw these angelic beings who are the seraphims, they saw their bodies, They saw the garments they had on them. They saw the wings the garments that appeared like wings. All right. Go back to Isaiah. And I'm reading this because, salvation is nigh, with everything speeding up with the year of prophecy. I think it's just appropriate to be in the spirit of reading about the angels and the chariots, okay? Because the chariots, they will be our salvation, all right? So we're going back to Isaiah 6, and I'm on verse 3. And one cried unto another and said, Holy, holy is Yahweh of hosts. The whole earth is filled with his glory. All right, so the angels, they just constantly worship Yahweh, right? They're in their right mindset. They know the glory of Yahweh. And so they're literally just, that's what they're saying. Holy, holy is the Lord of hosts, meaning the Lord of armies. Verse 4. And the posts of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. It shows you how cold Yahweh is, you know? I mean, just his voice will cause smoke, you know? You know how the Bible says that our words are fire unto these heathen? Spiritually, and then eventually it'll be physically. Our words will be fire, you know? But hey, Yahweh, when he speaks, if he wants, hey, smoke could come out. Verse 5. Then said I, woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. For mine eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. All right, so there you go. He actually saw Yahweh with his own eyes, and he had a humble spirit because of the glory. If Yahweh was to present himself to you right now, you would fall on your face and just bow down, you know. So it says, destruction is me, for I am undone. You know, he didn't feel worthy. You know, he said, I'm just a man of unclean lips. You know, meaning, hey, we corrupt in these physical bodies that we have, you know. So let's go to a precept. Exodus 4:10, and then it says, and Moses said unto the Lord, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore, nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am slow of speech and slow of tongue. All right. So it just like Isaiah, Moses, when Yahweh was dealing with them, hey, they were humble in their spirit, you know. Moses said, hey, I'm not even good. I'm not eloquent with my words, you know. He wasn't what you would call today a professional public speaker, you know. But Yahweh chooses not like he's not like man. No, he's choosing by the Spirit. He chose Moses for a reason to deliver his people, even though Moses felt inferior. All right. So that's why, you know, it's good for the man in the truth to be humble and, you know, according to the Spirit, not according to, you know, we're not supposed to give ourselves a pat on the back and act as if we're some type of special person. You know, we're just vessels in this truth. So let me go back to one more precept. Because Moses, he you know, he doubted himself. But Yahweh was like, hey, I'm choosing you. There's a reason, you know. So maybe we don't know why you're chosen or why Yahweh will call you. It's not your job to worry about it. If he chose you, then, you know, it's all the will of Yahweh. Jeremiah 1:6. Then said I, Lord, power, Yahweh thy power. Behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child. All right. So let me keep reading. But Yahweh said unto me, say not, I am a child, for thou shalt go to all that I shall send thee, and whatsoever I command thee, thou shalt speak. All right. So, you know, you just go with the Spirit. You have to have the faith when you teach, when you prophesy, when you go on the streets, you know, that you just have this, the Spirit's dealing with you. It's not even your words anyway, you know. You just go off the Spirit and just let Yahweh put he's literally putting his words in our mouths. Especially now, you know, in these last days, you know. Right now, a brother should be, you know, fervent, very hot in this truth, you know, with everything that's happening in this world. You know, preparing yourself for what's to come, you know. let me go back to Isaiah 6, and where are we at? 6. And it says, Then flew one of the seraphims unto me. So an angel flew to him, right? He said, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongues from off the altar, right? So if you can picture a chariot with an altar with Yahweh's voice, and he even got a glimpse of Yahweh, it said, he saw him sitting on the throne. Well, now this angel is literally like grabbing a off the altar a hot coal, all right? And let's read it. And verse 7. I'm sorry, you know what? Let me go to precept real quick. Revelation 8:3. When you start to really read into these scriptures and like what we're reading now, it shows you that it's like a ritual, man, a holy ritual. And it's literally a beautiful ritual that Yahweh has, woken up the men of his men. He's woken up his men, underneath the elders. We're out there prophesying, and now prophesying in our homes because Esau Edom has a lockdown on us, But it's a ritual, Yahweh is, he's ordained all of this to happen. Revelation 8:3. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before Yahweh out of the angel's hand. You see what I'm saying? It's like a ritual, and Yahweh is like, hey, it's spiritual to get some incense and even burn the incense when you're doing these lessons, and then reading about the prayers of the saints ascending up to Yahweh, right? And the angel, he's the one who's dealing with these hot coals on the altar and the incense, and the prayers of the saints. It's all a delight and as we read it, it's like it's ritualistic, Let's go back to Isaiah, if that's even a word, ritualistic. But Isaiah 6:7, it says, And he laid it upon my mouth, and this is that coal. Let's go back to 6 so we keep it in context. Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar. And he laid it upon my mouth, and said, Lo, this hath touched thy lips, and thine iniquity is taken away, and thy sin purged. All right, so that angel literally, boom, put that hot coal on his mouth, symbolic to purification. You may think you're not worthy. You may think you're not good enough. You may think you don't know how to prophesy. You may think you don't have you may and it's good to have a humble spirit, but at the same time you never want to you don't want to consider yourself not worthy for this truth. If the Lord has put the Spirit on you to teach and to accept everything that comes with it, without crying about it or whatever, well then you're going to, you're going to prove yourself worthy, Let me go back to Jeremiah 1:9. Because, Yahweh is going to put his words in our mouth. So you don't even have to worry about what you're going to say, Like right now, we're in these times, we're not, just go do the work. Go read. Go do your videos. Don't worry about if your video is going to be good or not, You got Yahweh's words coming out of your mouth. And how are you going to fail, if you have the faith and the discipline, Jeremiah 1:9. Then Yahweh put forth his hand and touched my mouth. And Yahweh said unto me, Behold, I have put my words in thy mouth. All right. So he's putting his words in our mouth. That's all we're doing, There's nothing special about us in this truth. I mean, there is something special, but what I'm saying is, we're not like, we're just, he called Jacob a worm, which is a humble thing, Jacob thy worm, meaning insignificant, but compared to all these heathen and these 2/3, we are significant. So, prophesy with confidence, prophesy with Yahweh's with you. You don't even have to talk. He just got to read his words. You see, Isaiah 6 and 8. It says, Also, I heard the voice of Yahweh saying, Whom shall I send, and whom will go for us? Then said I, Here I am. Here am I. Send me. See, that's the spirit you need to be in, man. Send. You got to be ready that Yahweh should call on you. Now it's time. It's go time. Especially in the times we're living in now. If this is your calling, if you're one of the elect, and Lord willing, we always pray that we're in that number. But hey, just take the ball, and you got the ball in your court. Now run with it. There's no reason to look back. There's no reason to take your hand off the plow. If you're really a prophet, then just go out and prophesy and read these scriptures. These words are in your mouth, all right? Don't worry about using your own words. Verse 9. And he said, Go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. Right? Because who are the people we need to reach out to? We need to reach out to the nation of Israel. And we already know because of our studies, we know that 2/3 will reject this knowledge and this truth. But he says, do it anyway. Go out because you're either going to bless them or you're going to condemn them with these words. All right? It's not our decision on who's blessed and who's condemned. It's all through the Spirit, all the will of Yahweh. Go to Isaiah for a precept, 43, and we go to 8. It says, Bring forth the blind people that have eyes, and the deaf that have ears. You see, the Israelites, the ones who he's supposed to prophesy to, God says that they're blind even though they have eyes, and they're deaf even though they have ears. That's what a 2/3 is, man. You have eyes, you have ears, but you can't see and you can't hear and you can't understand this truth. Let's go back to Isaiah 6 and 10. It says, Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, which is mind, understand with your mind, with their mind, and convert and be healed. So there's a responsibility for us in this truth, And he's telling you, this is kind of a mockery of the 2/3. He says, make the heart of this people fat. So they think they know it all. They think they have all the answers, right? Until now that they're in Jacob's trouble and shit's going to start hitting the fan, and then all of a sudden they're going to realize that their ears are heavy and their eyes are shut, But it's still nonetheless the prophet's job to go out and teach and warn. And who's telling him this? It's all through the chariots and the angels. The angels are ministering to Isaiah. The angels are ministering to Ezekiel. The angels are ministering to the prophets of right now, me, I'm being ministered through the Holy Spirit, and here it is right in my hands, But when we were outside, and hey, we've seen the chariots, that's what they're doing, man. They're messengers. That's what the word angel means. Let's go to Psalms. And it says, we'll go to 119. 119 and 70. Oh, wait. 119 and 70. And it says, their heart, well, let's back up one. Psalms 119 and 69. The proud have forged a lie against me, but I will keep thy precepts and with my whole heart. Right? This is the King David talking. And who's the proud? We already know the proud is Esau, Edom, right? The so-called white man. And they're the ones who forge lies against us, right? They always trying to keep Jake down, keep the Israelites down. But David says, hey, but I will keep thy precepts with my whole heart, which means mind, with my whole mind. That's our duty, Keep the precepts, precept means law, all right? So keep the precepts. And verse 70, their heart is as fat as grease, but I delight in the law. So this is the separation again. The Yahweh, you got the 2/3. They think they know it all until shit starts hitting the fan, like now. Now all of a sudden they want to deal with the prophets. Now all of a sudden they're gonna send you messages. People random. I got a message 2 weeks ago from a so-called black man, Judite probably. He just texts me, hey, because he knows, he knows that I'm in the truth, and he texts me and asks me. He said, Steve, and I'm sorry, it's actually Shabai, slip of the tongue, but my name is Shabai. He said, call me Steve because he calls me by my slave name, Steven. But he says, what's going on, man? Are we in the last days? He said, I'm scared, And I never got a text from that dude with something, like saying anything like that. But to me, when I got the text, it showed me, it was like, okay, now these people are concerned, These 2/3 are concerned about what this Bible has to say, And it's all prophecy because Yahweh already said how it would go down like that, When they're in there, when they're feeling the heat, they want to talk to us, Isaiah 6 and go to 11. Also, I'm sorry, 11. Then said I, Yahweh, how long? And he answered, until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land be utterly desolate. All right, so this is like a ceremony, what I could picture when I read this, Like Isaiah is asking questions to Yahweh, and meanwhile these angels are they're there too, The one flew up to him and put hot coal on his mouth to purify his mouth, right? Because fire can purify anything, right? If you have anything going on that you want clean or pure, you throw it in the fire. And who did it? It's the angels. Let me see. Where's the word? Okay, seraphims is the angel word they use. So, verse 12, it says, and Yahweh hath removed men far away, and there be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. All right, so this is when it'll happen, right? Now Yahweh is going to remove men far away, and there be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. So, to be honest, I don't have the full understanding on that verse, Let me read it again. And Yahweh hath removed men far away, and there be a great forsaking in the midst of the land, meaning they forgot the truth, But that's why the prophets are so vital and important, because we the ones who are going to be teaching after we are ministered by the angels, the seraphims. 13. But yet in it shall be a tenth, and it shall return, and shall be eaten as a tale tree, and as an oak, whose substance is in them. When they cast their leaves, so the holy seed shall be the substance thereof. You see? So the holy seed is dealing with the prophets, So when we cast our leaves, meaning share this knowledge, teach this truth, hey, that's the substance in us, and it's a beautiful thing, is Yapa. Let me go to this precept in Ezra, and we're going to go to 9. Let me just read 9:1. It says, Now when these things were done, the princes came to me, saying, The people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of the lands, doing according to their abominations, even of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites. See, so it's always better to separate from the other nations, because you don't want to be influenced by the heathen, right? The word nation means heathen, right? So the word heathen means nation. So it's always better to be separate from the heathen, because you don't want to take on their mindset or their doctrines or their, you don't want to be like a heathen, man, Verse 2, For they have taken of their daughters for themselves. And Yahweh is talking about Israel has taken these heathen women, if you're a male and you're an Israelite and you have a baby with a heathen woman, well, because of Numbers 1:18, your child is still an Israelite. But on the contrary, if you're a woman and you have a child with a heathen, well, now you basically trespassed against the law, and now you have to pay for that, because now your kids, they're not Israelites, they're whatever heathen that you had kids with, that's their nationality. Let's keep reading this. Verse 2, For they have taken of their daughters for themselves and for their sons, so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands. Yeah, the hand of the princes and the rulers hath been chief in this trespass. So even the rulers and the princes of Israel were guilty of these, taking on heathen women and mingled themselves with the heathen. Because when it says so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands, the holy seed is Israel, all right? You're better off to be with your own people, you go and have a kid, and we're in the last days, so this is almost, it's not irrelevant, but we're in the last days where if you haven't figured out by now and you're still mingling with the other nations and you're still trying to be like a heathen, well, you're going to catch a missile, but we are the holy seed, why would you even want to put holy seed in a inferior race, for lack of a better way to put that? But again, if you are the holy seed and you're an Israelite, a man, and you take on a heathen woman, of course your children are still Israelites. He said, And when I heard this thing, I rent my garment and my mantle, and plucked off the hair of my head and of my beard, and sat down astonied. So Ezra was like, dang, we mingle with the heathen, what belongs to our offspring are confusion of face now. They are Israelites look like the heathen, That's why people always think that we are, there's people that just hates people that look like white people, when in fact there are Israelites who will look like so-called white people, like Edomites, because of this, what we're reading. We just read it. The holy seed have mingled themselves. So you're gonna have Israelites that look like every single nation, you know. And really, the crazy and beautiful thing about this is, hey, the angels. This was via a chariot. These prophets are seeing chariots, and chariots are dealing with them, and angels are ministering to the prophets. Think about when we get into Jacob's trouble, and we really are even stronger in the spirit,